Hello, magical people of the internet. I am Jen, and welcome to my vlog I never thought I would, where we talk about doing things we never thought we would do and the unexpected places that they can lead us. I have a fabulous guest today. She is a USA Today bestselling author. She is also the recipient of 37, yes, that's right, 37 Emmy Awards for investigative journalism. I have Hank Phillippi Ryan. Welcome, Hank.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much. It's so nice to hear you say all those kind words. I love this idea for the vlog. I mean, what an uplifting, inspirational, thought-provoking topic. I think you're just brilliant to do this.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, I'm sure we will get into it in a few minutes, but so many of the incredible things that have happened in my life was when I decided to do something I never thought I would do. And I'm sure you've had a similar experience in your life, which I can't wait to talk about.
Well, I think everybody has had them, as you say. And I think we almost don't know that we are going to do it until we do it. And then afterwards we think, what was that? What did I just do? I can't believe I did that. And those
Exactly.
can provide some of the most life-changing and educational experiences that we can have.
Definitely. Definitely. So, over your very eclectic career from politics to broadcasting to becoming the master of mystery, your latest book, The First to Lie, was just nominated for a Mary Higgins Clark Award. So, you
So crazy. It's such an
congratulations.
honor. Thank you.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Well, fingers crossed. We're
Thank
rooting for
you.
you. They announced the awards at the end of April.
At the Edgar Awards, so that's very exciting.
Oh my God. Wow. What an honor.
Well, at
Well,
least we don't, we have to wear something fancy from the waist up, but
exactly.
below we're still in yoga pants, right?
No,
Sadly.
wear your stilettos. Wear those shoes,
You
girl.
know what? You're right. I'm going to. I'm
Because
going
you're
to.
just
I
going
will
to
think
feel
of it.
different. You're just going to feel different. Get dressed up, do the whole thing, get the
Thank you.
champagne.
Very wise. Very wise.
Yes. So, like I said, you've had so many incredible experiences in your life, and I'm sure you've done lots of things you never thought you would. So, why don't you share one with us today and let us know where it led you?
Oh my goodness, it is interesting because your topic of things you never thought you would do. It's interesting because every one of these things that's happened to me like that, and so many, it's not that I planned to do it. It's more like, and I know your listeners and viewers understand this, it's more like being present at the time that the thing happens and having this sort of confidence or naivete or emotional wherewithal to be in the situation and see where the situation can take you and to be a little brave. And I think that's really important. I remember when I was first starting in the real world, it was, when I was 19-ish or so. And I decided I was going to change the world. I was such a zealot about making my life matter and leaving a legacy and making a difference. So I decided I would go into politics to change the world, that's how I was going to do this. So I worked in several political campaigns back home in Indiana, um, fighting the good fight. But sadly, not one of the candidates I ever worked for actually won.
Oh,
And that's a problem. You want your candidate to win. And I began to, and crazily, because it wasn't my fault. I mean, I was 19. What are you going to do? Or 20. Wasn't I wasn't in charge, but it made me think that maybe this wasn't, not only that this wasn't the right way, but that I needed to actively do something else. Now, parenthetically and importantly, I was also out of a job. When the campaign was, when my gubernatorial campaign was over and the guy lost and wasn't the governor, I also wasn't, the campaign staffer anymore.
yeah, he
So
didn't
there
need
was this
that.
moment of, and I think this is important, don't you, that of thinking, oh my gosh, I'm unemployed. I have nothing now. And there's nothing like being an unemployed English major. That is just like, what are you going to, Shakespeare major I was. So, so I had to do something. And it was a moment of real adversity of, of where I could have just gone home and hidden for a while or been depressed. But I thought, all right, I'm going to do something. I'm going to actively take a role in my life. And I let myself be sad for a day. And then I thought, all right, let's go on. And so I decided the way to change the world was to be a journalist. And I looked up jobs in Indianapolis, crazy back in the old days. This was 1970, and that's really important, 1970. Mm-hmm. And I saw that the biggest radio station in Indianapolis was looking for a radio reporter. So I thought, yes, journalism, of course. Why didn't I think of that? But I never had thought of it before. So I went to the biggest radio station in Indianapolis and I said, I'm here to apply for a job as a radio reporter. And the news director says, great, we do need a reporter. Where was the last radio job you had? And I said, well, no, I've never been a radio reporter. And he says, that's all right. Television, magazine, newspapers. No, I hadn't been any of those. And he's sort of looking at me like, well, did you go to journalism school? No, I had nothing. I had completely nothing. I will tell you, Jen, I was completely unqualified. I mean, superly unqualified, no experience at all. So finally, after realizing that I was just not employable by him, he says, I wish I could hire you. And you seem like a very nice young woman, and I could probably teach you to be a reporter, but I really don't have time to do that. He said, could you tell me one good reason why I should hire you? And I said, well, yes, I can. I said, it's 1970 and your license is up for renewal. Your broadcast license is up for renewal at the Federal Communications Commission right now. And you don't have any women working here. And I just smiled. And the next day I had my first job in broadcasting, because, it's a great story, isn't it? Because, whoa, I never thought I would do that. I mean, I've got to tell you and your listeners, threatening a potential employer with a lawsuit during your job interview is not something I would recommend, right?
Yeah, not always the best way to go.
Hardly ever the best way to go.
Yeah.
But the new equal opportunity laws were brand new at that time. Mm-hmm. It was when businesses of all kinds, not only broadcasting, but any kind of, corporations or firms or companies, any company was needing to hire women.
Yeah.
And so I was at the right place at the right time, having done research. I mean, I knew their license was up for renewal. I didn't go in cold. Yeah. And took advantage of the moment when I had to take advantage of the moment. And so I was naive.
Yes.
But I was prepared. And I was also, and this is the thing that's so crucial about it to me. I was also a little bit brave. I took a chance, he could have said, get out of here, right? He could have said, so what? I don't care. Or he could have said, yeah, I need to hire women, but they need to be qualified and you're not.
Well, right? But you did have some.
Yeah. I mean, I was willing to hear no, mm-hmm. but I was going to go for it. And I was brave, and I was naive, but I was brave. And the thing that I learned from this, couple things. One, I've been a reporter every day since then. I've been a reporter for 43 years now. That's crazy. Because 37 Emmys, look.
Wow.
So
wow.
Isn't it funny? So, and that, Jen, is all because of that day. That's all because on that one day, I took a chance and I found my calling. I mean, if I had thought about it before and said, I'm going to threaten him, I never would have done it because it wasn't polite,
No, it wasn't
I'm a polite person.
But also you didn't need to be polite, but I also think working in a political office for a campaign, you learned how to play ball a little bit too.
That's interesting. I never thought about that, but that is very wise.
Yeah.
And you know what that kind of is? That's kind of confidence. That's kind of, this is a negotiation, and I'm not the victim. I'm an active, confident participant in this discussion that we're having. That was your move. Here's my move.
Exactly.
Very politely. I was still polite and I was still lovely. I was just, this is just, here's how the reality is.
Yeah.
When I speak now to journalism classes, I tell young women, this wouldn't work for you now, right? Yeah. We blazed the trail, those of us who started in broadcasting in 1970. Barbara Walters and Jessica Savage and Jane Pauley. Jane Pauley calls us the class of 1970. we're the ones that change the world. So it was a moment that I never thought I would do, with ramifications that I never thought it would have. And my life has been completely different as a result of it. And my attitude about the world has been completely different as a result of it, because what's important about this is, why do we forget to be brave? As we get older, we think, oh, that's not going to work. I can never ask for that. I can never try that. I want to do that, but I don't think so. I don't think somebody will say no. And I think about those days back in the old days when I just went for it. And I think, why don't we do that now? Why don't I do that now? Why don't I just be brave? What is somebody going to say? No?
First of all, yes, it's true. Like, because I have a saying, you're already living with the no if you don't ask.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Brilliant. Yeah, you're already living with it because you said no before anybody else had the opportunity to say no to you.
And as a result, you stopped yourself from going after what you hope for. And I think another important thing about this is interesting. My job that I wanted in politics didn't work, but it was still valuable. I mean, you brought this up. You said I had learned in my political job about negotiations and about speaking with people and about sort of having a position and understanding it and debating and standing up for yourself and being self-confident, and knowing you could win. So all of that information that I had, including all the contacts that I made, even in a losing career, even though I was unemployed, I had the valuable stuff from that time. So it's all ammunition. It's all valuable. Nothing is nothing. Everything is something. You just don't know how you're going to use it yet. You just don't know. And you don't even know what is good. Losing in those political campaigns, losing those campaigns was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Well, right? Yeah, because it sent you on a new path that led you to where you are now, which is where I want to go, actually. This is like the perfect segue, because you originally wanted to get into politics because you wanted to make a difference. That was your number one goal. And then, I don't know if the word is disheartened, but after working on a campaign and seeing the reality of politics, which has, especially campaigning, it has little to do with affecting any sort of change. Yeah. And okay, so you walk through that door for a time and you're like, okay, this isn't really what I thought it would be. And then because you see there's a job opening, not even because you want to work at the radio station, right? Because you answer an ad, you end up in this broadcast career where you actually end up affecting more change than maybe you would have if you stayed in politics.
Completely right. You're so wise about this. Absolutely so. As a result of being a reporter for 43 years now, and I'm still on the air here in Boston, we've sent people to prison. We've had laws changed as a result of our stories. I've gotten millions of dollars. I mean, talking seriously, millions of dollars in refunds and restitution for consumers. I've gotten people's homes out of foreclosure that were improperly foreclosed on. I've given them their homes back. And that is all because you could rewind because I lost my job when my political candidate lost.
Yeah.
And had to do something else. So all those changes, or many of those changes, let me put it this way, changes that I couldn't even have predicted, and not for me, but for others, which is exactly what I was hoping for, happened as a result of what some might have deemed as a failure, or not. I didn't fail, but the situation didn't turn out the way that I wanted it to be. So I was unemployed, certainly. And every time, knock on wood, not that I want bad things to happen, but people don't understand that everything is a step to the next thing. And what you think is bad or disappointing may be the best thing that ever happened to you. I promise you that's true. You just don't know it at the time.
Because it's going to force you to pivot into the direction you're meant to be going.
And with valuable knowledge.
Definitely. Which brings me to the next thing I want to discuss is, and then all of a sudden, so now you have this incredible broadcast career, and all of a sudden you write a book. How does that happen?
Well, you know, it's crazy. It is crazy. And again,
go from politics to journalism, investigatory journalism, and then now you're writing mystery.
Yeah, you know, ever since I was a little girl, I read mysteries and thrillers. It's Sherlock Holmes and Agatha Christie and all the Nancy Drew books, and then all the, you know, the 1960s political thrillers like Failsafe and 7 Days in May. I loved those. And I thought it would be great to be an author, but I thought it might be better to be a detective than to write about detectives. But still, in the back of my brain was this thought of being a thriller writer, being a mystery writer, suspense. So, but honestly, I will admit to you that I thought about it from time to time, and then my brain would say, well, what are you going to write about? What story? And my other side of my brain would say, I don't know. And then the other side of my brain would say, all right, well, then you're not going to do it. So it just sort of went like that. But one day at Channel 7, and it's too long a story to tell now, but you can find it on my website maybe, I just had a good idea for a book. I knew
kind of came to you.
It did. Yeah. And it came as a result of opening an email spam that I wasn't supposed to open. Instead of deleting it, I opened it. It was so mysterious that my brain gave me an idea as a result of it. And I thought, oh my golly, my book. This is totally what I'm going to do. I'm going to write a thriller. And I went home and I said to my husband, I've got this great idea for a book. I just have this. I know exactly what it is. I'm going to write a mystery. I'm going to write a book. And my husband says, great, honey. He says, do you know how to write a book? And I'm like, yeah, how hard can it be? You know, I've read a million of them. And honestly, word for word, that's what I said. And I soon realized how hard it could be, because it took me a year and a half to do it. But I was obsessed. I was absolutely compelled. I worked every night after my day job. I worked every weekend. I took all my vacation to write. I worked and worked and worked and worked on it. That became my first novel called Prime Time, which won the Agatha for Best First Novel. That's one of the teapots that you see behind me. The Agatha Award is a teapot. And that moment of having the good idea and making me be obsessed in writing the book changed my life. And now, you know, The First to Lie, which you subtly see displayed behind me, is my 12th novel, with the 13th novel coming out in the fall. And all because there was a moment where there was a thing that I never thought I would do. I wanted to, but I never thought I would do it, write a murder mystery. And then at 55, I was 55 years old when it happened. This was 16 years ago. I was 55 at a time, and this is important too, at a time when people might say, you're fine. You've got a great job. You've got a great career. You have all these Emmys. Look at that. You're a success. You don't need to do anything else. But I had a good idea. And I thought, well, I guess it's never too late to do the thing that you never thought you would do. And that was a life-changing moment as well.
And not just that, when it has something to do with a creative passion, it has nothing to do with need. I don't think any artist creates anything because they need a job. You know what I mean? Unless they're commissioned or hired or whatever. We get this kind of burning sensation inside of us. There's this idea that's like, you know, sometimes I feel like I'm a pot simmering and the top is about to come off, because I get so excited about the ideas that I'm working on. And it's not, and I don't think it's just about artists. I think entrepreneurs are like that too, because there are entrepreneurs who have tens of millions of dollars, but they're still moving on and making another company, having a new business venture, because you still have that passion. You're not finished creating, you're not finished living your life yet.
That's so fascinating to think about. Yeah, you know, when I started writing my first book, the level of naivete, the level of newbiness is just, I can't even begin to tell you that. Someone asked me once, why did you write it in first person? And I thought, I don't know. I think the book decided that. You know,
Exactly.
why did you write a murder mystery? I don't know. I think the book decided that. You know, I didn't know about agents. I didn't know about distribution. I didn't know about publishing. I didn't know how to editors in a publishing company. I didn't know any of that. It's crazy how much, you would never believe how much I didn't know. But what I did know was that I knew what a book was, and I knew that I could write one, and I wanted to. Of course, you know, money, there was not a thought of money. I mean, there was a thought of sort of this nebulous idea that someday someone might read it. But yeah. I just thought it was a really good idea. And it's interesting about having a good idea. I've been thinking about this a lot. How, you know, I'm getting ready to submit for my 14th, 15th, and 16th book.
Wow.
And they're saying, so what are your ideas? And my first answer was, I don't know, you know, I don't have any ideas. I need to have an idea. I need an idea. And that, you don't want to go there. I need an idea, you know, think of something. That's not going to work. You have to, I'm telling you, after all these years of experience, if you open your mind and just sort of say to the universe, I'm ready for this now. You know, I'm ready to receive this idea now, and I'm open to it. And then just let your mind go a little. Then that's when the idea will come. And I'm telling you that every time I need a new idea, I think this is the time that the idea is not going to come. I better think of one. You know, just in case the universe doesn't offer it, I better think of one. And I never can. And then at some point when it's least expected, now, you know, it appears. Now, you and I know this is not a woo-woo thing. You and I know that your subconscious is working.
Yes.
And your subconscious is scanning the universe for puzzle pieces that are you're gonna take this one from here and this one from here and this one from here. And at some point, oh, that's a picture I never saw before, but you can't make it happen.
And not just that, just because you get an idea doesn't mean that that seed is gonna grow into a tree.
Yeah.
And part of it is, yeah, of course, we get ideas all the time, but that doesn't mean that each idea we have deserves to be nurtured. You know, so sometimes we just have to sit and let the ideas sift through themselves and find out, okay, what resonates, what's passionate, because sometimes I get great ideas that I'm like, yeah, but it's not my cup of tea. Yeah. And even if we do get ideas don't always deserve to be nurtured. Every seed of an idea isn't necessarily going to like bloom into a beautiful tree or a garden.
I think of an idea like a pebble somehow. And you take this little pebble of an idea and you plop it into the pond of your book. And sometimes the pebble just sinks to the bottom. It just sinks. And that's an idea that's not going to work. But sometimes when you plink the idea into the pond of your thoughts, forgive me for this horrible metaphor, it starts rippling. Yeah. You see the water ripple, and you see the ripples move, and you see it change, and you see the water change, and you see, it's almost as if you're seeing your idea get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's when you know, it's a good idea. And it's okay to have a bad idea, because I don't think there's a bad idea. I think that each idea that sinks in the pond builds you up to the ones that don't. And you just don't know maybe it's just a puzzle piece in a different way, or maybe you're looking at it the wrong way.
It's so true. It's so true. The last play that I wrote with a writing partner. It actually got canceled because it was supposed to happen last spring due to COVID. Anyway, it was called Shiksa Wives. We were tweaking, we were doing a writing session, and I came up with a phrase as we were working on this piece. And that phrase turned into my next project.
Yeah. And it's you wouldn't have it. You wouldn't have had it.
Wouldn't have had it. Never would have happened had I not been working on another piece. And I find that happens all the time, because everything builds on itself. It's all muscle memory, so to speak. You know, you're never going to go to the gym and say, well, oh, yesterday wasn't worthwhile.
That's so wise of you. I can tell you, it's so interesting, because my book, The First to Lie, the title of that book came from a dialogue in the book before, The Murder List. In The Murder List, someone says to, this is me writing, you know, this is not a real character, but this is me writing. So a police officer says to a person, you know, the first to talk is the first to walk, meaning the first person to rat out the other guy in the criminal enterprise is the first person to get a lesser sentence. Exactly. So he says the first to talk is the first to walk. And my character says, yeah, but what about the first to lie? And then I thought, oh, what about the first to lie? And I thought, my title, there's my title. I had put someone else, a fictional character who I had created, had said the title of my next book. And I mean, I never would have thought of it in another context.
We have two of your books that we've been talking about. So the first one that I mentioned was nominated for the Mary Higgins Clark Award, The First to Lie. Where do we find this one?
The First to Lie is everywhere. It is everywhere that you could buy a book, an audiobook, an ebook, in a bookstore, online, wherever else, you know, at Target, at Walmart, at Amazon, at Barnes and Noble, at your favorite indie bookstore, which is a wonderful place to buy books because
yes,
you know, indie bookstores were there when the pandemic started, and we need to make sure they're there when the pandemic is over, which I hope will be soon. And so we need to make sure that we keep those indie bookstores in business. But The First to Lie, which was just nominated, as you said, thank you, for the Mary Higgins Clark Award, is everywhere on every platform in every bookstore.
Great. And then your next book, it's going to be your 13th. Your 13th.
This is not even the galley. This is not even the real advanced reader copy. This is an advanced bound manuscript, they call it, which is just, it's the real book, exactly how it is.
Yeah.
But it's even before the advanced reader copy and advanced review copy comes out. And so I'm very excited about this. And as you can see, it says, her perfect life, all she has to do is keep one secret. And it's about life in the spotlight and how the spotlight is the most dangerous place of all for you and for your family. And that is out in September. And it's available for pre-order now everywhere that you buy books.
Excellent. And we will definitely have links below to make it easy for everybody to find. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today. I really appreciate it, Hank. This has been a real treat.
Thank you, Jen. What you're talking about is so valuable and so life-changing. And I really imagine people listening to you and thinking, you know, Jen's right. I'm going to go try this. And I'm sure you have so many success stories connected to you, stories that you don't even know about. And that's really exciting.
Well, I hope so. And once again, I challenge everybody out there to do something you never thought you would. Let us know what it is in the comments and let us know where it leads you. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you're enjoying the content, please like and subscribe. Have a beautiful day.